Anytime now, stream. Okay. There we go. All right. See if anyone jumps in the chat here in a minute. Ray and Chris should be on here in just a moment. Oh yeah, my show notes. Might need the show notes. If you're watching on YouTube, you may have noticed that the last few episodes that we've done, I haven't gone back and edited. Normally, I would go back and remove the pre-show or after show if we have one, and just post the main show on there. The reason I stopped doing that is because YouTube has started allowing the, I guess, the playback of the chat room, which is kind of cool because that way, if you're going back and watching the show after the fact, you can see what was actually going on in the chat room. Especially when we mention it and talk about it on the show. But unfortunately, it only stays, and I understand. I guess I understand this. It only stays if you leave the video unedited. Um, I mean, I guess I could understand, especially if you were chopping up the video and like taking out pieces in the middle. I could see how that would definitely be a thing where it would cause the chat to not want to work correctly. But like I said, I was taking off the beginning or the ending of the episode. So I'm not sure why it wouldn't just chop off the chat at that point, but whatever. YouTube is YouTube. We all know how that is. So just a quick explanation of why I started leaving the video intact on YouTube. So, by the way, I don't even remember. Oh, yeah, I was gonna. No, man, I'm tired. That's what I was gonna say. Is I'm tired. Had a long day today. Um. Oh, Ray and Chris are gonna be on here in a second.
Testing.
Hello.
Testing.
I'm not hearing you, and I don't know if it's because it's me hearing you.
I can hear you.
You hear me, okay. Say it again.
Yep, what's up?
Okay, let's see here. Let's see
what's my preferences.
There. All right. Let's see. Because I'm running the audio through there. So we're going to go over here to our audio, and we're going to check it
out. Audio settings.
Test. Okay, I see audio there.
That's good. Test my audio. Testing my audio.
I'm hearing a little something, but I don't know where I'm hearing it from is the thing. Okay, let's see. Let me check my settings real quick.
You can't hear us right now, so you gotta wait. Oh.
Okay, so everything's good on my end.
Okay, where am I hearing that from? That is so weird. Like it's over here somewhere. I wonder if I'm. Okay, I was hearing it from the speakers on the big computer. That's what I was hearing from. I was like, where am I hearing that from? Okay, so I'm getting the audio there. So let's see here. So audio video settings, USB codec, USB audio codec. Okay, that's correct. Interesting. Surely it's not my headphones. I'm pretty sure it's not my headphones. Oh, balls. We want to get started, get going. And of course, stupidity.
We always got to have something go wrong. It's all good.
Can't hear anything there. All right, so we're on the show. Let me check these settings real quick. Sound. USB audio. Input there. Okay, I can see my voice there. Output. Okay, I think I figured out what was going on.
Okay.
There we go. Can you hear me?
I can still hear you.
Okay, I can hear you now. So
Hey,
I hit the wrong button.
It's always something, buddy. It's always something.
It's always something. So, yeah, I know you have to get up early, so we'll get started here pretty quick. I just want.
We can chat a little bit.
Oh, hey, I saw the shirt.
Hi.
Love the shirt. That's awesome.
Yeah.
She's very
Very cool.
excited.
I found it yesterday.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So are you gonna like wear it all the time? Is it gonna be one of those things that's like, okay, it has to be washed at some point.
Yeah.
She wanted to wear it yesterday when it was really hot.
Uh-huh. Ooh, that's long sleeve.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
No.
Yeah.
And it's thick. It's like decent cotton too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's J. Crew. Look at that. Score.
Yeah.
Thank you, secondhand store.
There you go. Very nice.
All right, where you go?
Bye, Eugene.
Bye. I was gonna say, yeah. So when I was doing my show notes, and I get to the point, I was like, oh, I usually write down what my pick or pan is, so I've got it ahead of time, and I always try to stick to, one pick or one pan or one of each at most. And then today, just like an hour ago, I got to thinking about. I was like, oh yeah, what's my picks and pans? I got to thinking about. I was like, and I thought, you know what? I just remembered last weekend, so I've got 2 fucking pans.
Hey, all right then.
So I still have a pick, but yeah, after last weekend. So
All right.
anyway, alrighty, are y'all ready to go?
Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, cool.
Everything else is good. Life's good.
Everything else is fine. I'm tired. Like, it depends on how long we go here and just kind of how I feel afterwards. Like, I'm excited to get back to painting the little things because they're going really well. But another part of me is like, go to bed, idiot.
Yeah, I know. I'm with you.
So, all right. Like I said, we won't try to stay up too late. So here we go.
Sounds good.
Go ahead and hit the intro, mute the mic, and we'll get started.
You're listening to the Epically Geeky Show, a place for all things geeky.
Welcome out to the Epically Geeky Show, episode number 92. I'm your host for the evening, Eugene Stevens. Tonight's opening question is, in your opinion, what kills a sitcom the quickest? A, characters getting married. B, characters having a baby. C, adding a new character. Or D, recasting a character.
Ooh. See, I can give examples of each one where it was okay and it worked.
Right. Same here. Absolutely.
For me, depending on the show. So if the show is single life, having a baby is like the end of the sitcom of that story, and now it's on to something else completely.
Right. Exactly.
So that's what it is for me. If they were at the very beginning of stages and they have kids at the very beginning of the sitcom, I mean, obviously that's what the sitcom's about. But for me, if the whole storyline's been single, or even in relationships but no babies, and all of a sudden, then that's what it is for me.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm like you. I can name shows where it's worked very well, and then I can name shows where it's just like, yeah. I kind of stopped watching it shortly after that. So, what about you, Chris?
Yeah, I agree with you guys. It just depends on the show. Although I will say, having a character recast is pretty hard for me to get over.
Yeah.
So, yeah, especially if it's a character that I love, and it's like, who the fuck is this? No,
Yeah.
No. I do not agree.
You're not them.
Yeah.
I would have to pick new character mainly because to me it seems like, I mean, when characters come in and out and they're like, B-level characters, that's fine, whatever, especially if it's like a show like The Office where, you're going to have temp workers come in or something like that, that's fine. I'm thinking more of like the closer knit sitcom when you add a new character, it's because you're kind of running long in the tooth and someone sat down and was like, oh, we're not hitting this, group of people anymore. We need to get someone in there. And that's when you get the Cousin Olivers and that type of stuff. And it's just like, or as probably one of the biggest ones that I just drove me insane was on the Cosby Show. Mm-hmm. When they introduced Raven Simone's character, I'm just like, I don't want new little kids. I don't care. So, but yeah, that would be my pick on that one. So, the reason why I bring up sitcoms is that's what our topic is tonight. A lot of sitcoms have actually gone on to spawn other shows. We all know some of them that were just horrible. Some of the ones that I listed were Joey from Friends. I mean, I never was huge into Friends, but I know Joey was not a good show. No. Frasier, on the other hand, was a really good spinoff.
Yep. Yeah, so, I like that one.
So yeah, there have been sitcoms that have had some good spinoffs. We've had some that had some horrible spinoffs. And then there are some of those sitcoms, especially some of those older ones, that have had like 4 and 5 spinoffs technically, and you're just like, I didn't even realize that that was a related thing. So
how is that related to that one? Yeah,
yeah, they jumped. The people showed up on one episode, and all of a sudden they get a whole new show. It's like, what? But yeah. So tonight I tasked everyone with coming up with 2 or 3 spinoff, show possibilities. I did not put a prerequisite on this saying that they had, it can't be a show that's already had a spinoff. So if you've picked a show that he just has an opinion.
He's barking because it's May 2-4 here, and May 2-4 in Canada, we celebrate the Queen's birthday is what it's supposed to be, and what we celebrate is by having fireworks, and so there's fireworks going off not far away.
You know what? It's perfectly fine. I understand. Ruby doesn't care. Of course, she's gotten really old and her hearing is really gone. So I don't even know if she noticed it anymore. And Max is just scared to death. So, yeah. But no, I didn't put a limit on it as to being, it has to be a show that's never had a spinoff or whatever. So, with that being said, would anyone like to go first?
Well, seeing how Chris walked off camera because she spilled water on herself.
Water on myself.
I'll go first because this one needs help fleshing out. So, disclaimer, I'm going to have to help with fleshing out most of my ideas.
That's fine.
I thought this one would be kind of a fun one. So I wanted to go back to Friends. And I wanted to spin off on that one, but I didn't want to focus on the characters. I wanted to focus on the coffee shop. I thought it'd be kind of cool.
Good idea.
Kind of cool having different characters come in and tell a stupid story of their life or whatever on the couch, because it wasn't just them that sat there. And you could do a bit of a spinoff where something crazy happened because of a certain event in Friends.
Right.
You could have those tiebacks, and they've had events where they do silly flashbacks where it's bad makeup and it's bad. You can tell they're completely still all the same age, and so you could even do that, and you could have them do cameos that way. I don't know. I thought that'd be kind of a fun one.
Oh my God, that would be so awesome to actually get some of the characters to come back, and you said, just do bad makeup. It's just very obvious that you are 20 and 30 years older than you were, but who cares? It's still Chandler. So
yeah, it's Chandler or it's Ross, and he's or like I said, just anything like that where you could have these different characters pop into the coffee shop, and that's all it would have to be called is
Central Perk.
And that's
Central Perk. That honestly is a great idea.
That is a really good idea.
That's a really good one. Chris, did you want to go next?
Sure. So my idea for a spinoff is a prequel for Firefly.
Uh-oh.
Did talk about that.
Centering around Shepherd Book.
Oh, okay.
Because you know that dude had a pretty epic life before he was a shepherd.
Yeah, no joke.
Yeah, so his name before he became Shepherd Book was, I'm going to get this wrong, Durarial Book, which he stole that identification. That's not his actual real name. His real name is Henry Evans. Anyways, what his life was like before he joined Serenity, and before that all happened, because he said some shifty things. He knew a lot about weaponry. He knew a lot about the Alliance. He knew a lot of he knew a lot of connections through that. There was one episode where he got really injured, and they had to board an Alliance ship. And because of his identification, they were like, "Yep, let's go." But he never talked about it. So this is, I figured, he was probably a mercenary, and so it centers around him being a mercenary, and then he's recruited by the Alliance and all of that happening. So just his young life as before he turns into Shepherd, which I thought.
How do you feel the brown coats would feel about that? Like, do you think it would be enough to, or do you think it's going to be like, yes, this, but still, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, because it's still right around the time when they have the War of Unification. Is it the War of Unification?
Yeah, I think so.
Like right around that time, he is hired by the Alliance and as it's not an assassin, but he works for them. So all of that, because Mal was also in that war too.
Yep.
And do they cross paths at one time? But maybe not directly, but like they're in the same scenario and they don't know it.
Could even be fighting on different sides.
Fighting on different sides, things like that.
I think right there would be enough that it would give the brown coats enough to at least kind of keep going on. You know what I'm saying? So, because at this point, it's just like, guys, give it up. It's not going to happen, man. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So, the first one that I picked was, and I kind of was hoping Lainey was going to be on this one, but I picked Parks and Rec. I love that show. I love that show to this day. And I was trying to figure out who I would want to keep going with. And at first, I knew who I wanted to pick, and I thought, no, I don't know if I should pick him. Maybe I should pick someone else. Originally, I was playing around with the idea of it's like a 10-year jump or whatever. There was that last season or whatever. And I thought seeing Gary as the mayor would be a hilarious sitcom to watch. But inevitably, I went back to I want to see Ron running the national park, because then you could have the character, occasionally characters come in and they're camping or whatever. But just his interaction, because we'd have to come up with some characters. So he's over 2 or 3 other people, and there's a goofball or whatever, and then maybe there's someone who's like super serious that he's just like, hey, take it down a step. Especially coming from Ron. And then of course you just deal with, you could just have a cast of different characters coming in that are they're hunters, or they're just they're campers or whatever, and just him dealing with I need more Ron Swanson is what it boils down to. So
he's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah. I picked Ron from Parks and Rec. Like I said, I really played with the idea of Gary, and I thought, I gotta stick with Ron. So all right.
But even Gary as mayor and his name wrong the whole entire time.
I went back because it's been a while since I've watched it, and I'm just like, I went back and started reading up it again. And I was just like, man, that was such a good way to end that show.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite ones.
All right, Ray, what's your next one?
So my next one, I wanted to go back to The Office. I enjoyed The Office. I thought it was really good.
I thought about it, and I stayed away from it, but it did cross my mind.
Well, I thought how it would be kind of fun watching Shroot Farms. And it's the same length of time that it's been since the show's been on, and he's getting closer to retirement now, and he's like, you know what? I need an apprentice. And so he goes out to hire an apprentice, and that would be like your first season.
Oh my God.
And then
you still have Mose running around doing crazy ass shit.
Yeah.
So and I thought that the person that he eventually picks was actually a very big fan of the show.
Of the
documentary.
Yeah.
Huge fan of the documentary.
Oh my God, yes.
But he loved what Jim always did, where he would always play pranks on Dwight. And so that's where you would continue on into like a second season.
That would be good.
That would be good.
That would be kind of fun where, because there's enough characters that you could pull from Shroot Farms.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, running an office is very similar to running the farm.
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing. It would be a documentary again. It would be a documentary of Shroot Farms.
Yeah. And see, you could always have, the nice thing about doing a sitcom like this, that's a spinoff is you can have those characters from the original one come back, so you'd have, Pam and Jim and the kids show up for
sheep day
picking or what. Yeah. Sheep day or whatever. And so you have Jim step aside and tell the new guy or whatever, listen, this is here's some
my
things, I never got around to or whatever.
Here's my black book of the things that I didn't get. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. That would be awesome, actually.
Good idea. I like that.
All right, Chris, what's your next one?
Okay, so I picked a character from 30 Rock, which is a show I really loved. Kenneth Parcell, which was, I loved him so much. He was so happy with his job. He was just so happy to be there. And he had a weird upbringing. He would just like throw snippets in, and you're just like, I'm sorry, what? So I thought he would be fun, sort of a Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt kind of deal, where he's living in the city and he's just sort of wonderfully oblivious to all the crap that goes around him, and he's just sort of all right through life. And he has a terrible roommate who just is totally inconsiderate, and he's an asshole, but Kenneth just sort of grins and bears it, and then like one time he totally loses it on him, but he feels bad about it and then apologizes, and just things like that. His family visits occasionally, and then you see his mom, because he lives with his mom, but his mom's been married for 7 years to somebody else. That whole thing. Yeah, I don't know. I like Kenneth. Mine aren't as good as yours.
No, I'm not familiar with that one.
No,
I'm going to add on to this one because I also picked doing a spinoff with Kenneth from 30 Rock.
You didn't. Please add on.
I said he becomes the head page, and he has to train some of the other pages, and of course you get just these weirdos that come in, and then he can still interact with whatever shows that are on there. So he still he messes. Fallon comes on every so often, and just the further adventures of Kenneth, I think, would be an awesome show. I'd have to watch that.
It's one that it's on my to-do list, and you watched it without me, and it's just on my to-do list. I just haven't got around to watching it.
Sorry about that.
Well, I'm going to slide in with my other one. I actually have two of them. One of them I just two more. I did 4 instead of just 3, just because I had one in my head and I wasn't sure I was going to do it or not. And anyway, so like I said, yes, I had also picked Kenneth. One of the other shows that I decided I wanted to do a spinoff from was Community. I adored this show. The last couple seasons, especially the last ones that were on Yahoo, were just okay, but I love the show. One on it, his name's Abed. Did either of y'all watch Community?
I saw a couple episodes, but that was one we never really got into.
No.
The first, depending on where you watched it, the first season or the first couple episodes of the first season, you can tell they have an idea what they want to do with the show.
Yeah.
And then after that, they kind of figure out what they want to do with the show, and they just run with it. And there's a lot of in jokes, there's a lot of callback stuff. So, if you watch it, definitely start from the beginning, and then just like I said, you'll probably get hooked and you'll just keep going. But, the character Abed on there, the entire time, I think all the way from season 1, a lot of the inside jokes, kind of the winks to the camera, is he keeps talking, and you're not quite sure if he really thinks that he's living in a TV show. because the way he acts and the way he says things. But like he even mentions like that was one of the running jokes about it was he's like, our study group is, this is basically the show of our study group, and it's going to run for 6 seasons and then a movie. And that became the call was 6 seasons and a movie. They got 6 seasons. We didn't get a movie out of it, but no, I'd like to see him work going on. And at the end of the series, he became a production assistant for a TV show. And I wanted to have him, pick up where he's been doing this, where he's a production assistant, but I want to make it so that he hates the show that he's working on. Like it's just every bad trope, for a TV show. And he's just like, you can't do that. That's horrible, whatever. And, they just, oh no, that's a great idea. We'll just keep doing that. So kind of in response to that, he's got his own YouTube series that apparently is like blowing up. And this way we can pull in some of the big YouTube personalities to stop in to do different things or whatever on the show, on his show. So, but yeah, I loved Community, and I'd love to get something else from that show. So even if it's a spinoff, as long as it's not on Yahoo, I'd be happy to have it. So
yeah.
All right, Ray, you got another one for us?
Yeah. So there's a bit of a setup on this one. So Kathy Bates and Susan Sarandon are new characters now. We have those 2 actresses in there, and they're friends with Diane Keaton's character.
Okay.
And they are friends, been friends for years, and they thought Diane Keaton's mom is putting on this class, so they better go and show support. And doesn't Rose from Golden Girls show up? And Betty White is on the screen.
Aww.
And we have a new
Golden
Girls.
Awesome.
That's what I thought. Like when I wrote you and said, "No, I'm too excited. I gotta share this one." This is the one I was talking about, man. Like
he is a big crush on Betty White.
Dude, she's awesome.
She is awesome. The entire internet has a crush on Betty White.
Oh,
yes, yes. But I just thought those three actresses could pull something like that off. Where, though, I don't know, Kathy Bates, I thought would be fantastic in that one.
Susan Sarandon be like the Sophia.
Yes,
she's pretty.
Yeah, and then Diane Keaton. So the 3 of them are very similar, but have different dynamics. I'd love to see the 3 of those working together because I think the comedy would be very spot on.
I think this would be an excellent show for Netflix to pair along with Grace and Frankie, because this definitely seems of that type of ilk would be awesome. Because they could also just let all 4 of those women just unleash and just let them go.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and I think it would be hilarious.
Yes.
And your tie-in is Betty White, and she's now the mom figure, and they're all going to her for advice and all that stuff, and so yeah,
very nice.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, you have another one for us?
I do. This is my last one. So this always bugged me. I know it's bugged Ray, but whatever happened to the doctor's daughter?
Yes.
Oh.
Whatever happened? Because at that last scene, she's like,
she flies away.
She wakes up and then she flies away, and then you never hear from her ever again. Through the whole entire series, you never hear from her, and it always bothered me. I'm like, he's got a kid, and at some point, did she run into River? Is she able to travel through time? How does she travel time? Can she regenerate? Did he ever run into her again? Did she ever see any of his other regenerations through time? I have a lot of questions, and they need to answer them. So Stephen Moffat needs to get on that. But I thought the doctor's
done,
daughter.
I thought Stephen Moffat was done.
I know. I just mean he should.
Well, yeah.
But I thought having her trying to figure out, because she was basically born an adult, right? Like she doesn't have.
She's a clone.
She's a clone, but she doesn't have a childhood to draw from or anything. So it's like watching somebody grow up as an adult, go through all of that as an adult, which would be kind of cool. Through time.
She'd be like Lilu.
Yeah, like Lilu.
A little bit.
Fifth Element, a little bit.
A little bit like Lilu. But I just thought it would be neat, like how, because they never really explained the other, like they explained Donna when she took on a bit of the TARDIS and they had to the erase her memory and stuff because her brain couldn't handle it. And the the girl who plays in Game of Thrones and She Lives Forever, and they just call her Me. She's dotted in throughout that.
Mm-hmm.
And this one they never explained, and I thought it was always sort of missed a little bit.
There's so many things you could go with that, right?
Yeah.
You don't even have to have the same actress. I know that she'd still jump on a Doctor Who show again.
I would think so, yes.
She said that in interviews. But that being said, you don't even have to go that route. You could pick anybody and continue that on and just talk about the regeneration or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It would be nice if she was there for at least the first season.
Yeah. If we could at least get a first season, and then if we need to regenerate her or something.
Yeah, but
Like,
can she even regenerate? She's a clone, but is that the same thing as being a Time Lord? Like, is it? Does that automatically make her one?
The Doctor did say she's Time Lord. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So,
especially if they did it so she was like somewhat limited. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
That's what I mean.
semi-Time Lord, mostly Time Lord, but not full or something. Yeah.
Yeah. She can regenerate as long as she doesn't die, or I don't know.
Or, yeah, something. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like I said, I came up with a fourth one. I was, like I said, I wasn't sure I wanted to do this one because I didn't know how I would go about it. I didn't know if it'd be sacrilege or whatever. So I'm very glad that you did yours first, Ray, because I also wanted to see Betty White. And I thought it would be that she's getting older, and I thought maybe they put her in a retirement home, and then she can have a cast of characters there to interact or whatever. And I thought we would call it the Golden Years.
All right.
But no, I kind of like I'll be honest, I like your idea better. So,
well, I mean, you could still have the same cast in that one where, Kathy Bates is one of the nurses, or, the three of them are the nurses, and they can still go to Betty for advice. And
yeah, no, I like your idea better of them somehow getting together and being in a house and having that, because I think fans would take to that better. So, but like I said, I wasn't quite sure how I was going to deal with it. I was like, am I stepping on some toes here? Because, like I said, evoking Betty White for anything is like, that's like, calling down to God and like,
Yes.
all right, what are you going to do now?
yeah.
Saint Betty.
Yes.
So, well, I know it is. We said it was going to be a short show, and it is going to be a short show because we're actually at the end of it. So,
Yeah, we're done.
short
Sorry
and
for that.
sweet. People who've been listening to this show for 92 episodes are like, thank God they're finally, this is what I've been asking for. Just cut the crap and get to it. So I guess with that, let's go ahead and move on to our picks and pans. Would anyone like to go first?
Me.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay. What is your pick and or pan?
Okay, I have a pick. So we just found this show on Netflix, the kids and I, and it's called The Who Was Show. And it's a history show sketch comedy for kids. And it's got this cast of, I think, 6 regular kids. They're teenagers. And they pick 2 figures in time. The last one, I think, was, well, the one I remember was Marie Antoinette and, nope, I'm going to get it wrong. Anyways, they pick 2 people. They pick 2 people. And they just go kind of through their life, and they use comedy, and the kids dress up as that character, and they sing songs and stuff. It's just really cool, and the kids were glued to it, and they're learning about history, and so I just thought it's really neat. It's only in its first season, and we binge watched, and it's only half an hour long.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, but the Who Was Show. I liked that it was sketch comedy for kids. I thought that was pretty cool, and it's funny, and the kids loved it. They thought it was hilarious, and they're learning. So,
Excellent.
Best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Yes, on Netflix. And then Ray finished the table today at our house.
Well, I'll send you pictures.
Yes. And
Very cool.
That's it.
Very good.
All right.
What?
I got my picks and pans down, so we're good.
Do what?
I've got my picks and pans down, so.
All right. You want to go next?
Sure.
Right.
So I'll start with my pan because it's, I always hate finishing on a sad note. So another shooting down in Texas, and I am sorry about that.
Yeah.
Hearts. There's nothing else to be said at this point, right? Like it's.
Yep.
So Sad that it happened. Sad that it happened. Pick, obviously the table's done. The one that I would love for everybody to go out to check out though, if you're not a fan of hockey and you haven't really checked out what hockey's about right now yet, and it's a long time coming, Vegas Golden Knights have been our brand new team this year for the NHL, and they've made it to the playoffs, which is amazing. Like they're an expansion team that are in the playoffs.
Their first year?
Their first year.
Wow.
This is unprecedented.
It's the second team to do that. That's what the Sharks did their first year.
Well, yeah, but they haven't made it. So they are one win away from going to the finals.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So this is incredible. Like they've gone through 2 rounds. They're in the 3rd round. They're about to win. Like as long as they get one more win, they're going to the finals. And what I love about this team is that they have embraced Vegas totally. Because at the opening of every round, they do this bit of a storyline on the ice, and so it's it's very medieval times feel to it.
Oh yeah.
And they have the knight come out, and they take on somebody from the other team. So the first team that they beat were the Kings, and so they had this king out there on the skates and stuff like that. The second team that they beat were the Sharks, and so on the ice they put a laser show down, and you can see a shark circling underneath the water. It was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then this last one, they're taking on the Winnipeg Jets, but because they were medieval times, it's the Iron Bird. So, so they, there's this big opening and everything like that, and I love that they've embraced it. And some people in hockey probably don't like it.
There's sets involved, like it's
massive.
Yeah, it's a
massive.
show.
Anyway, so if you get a chance to check out those openings, it might get you into hockey. So by all means, go check it out.
It's the only hockey team.
That's awesome.
Yeah, this is the only hockey team that does this.
Mm-hmm.
I could see a few of them picking it up.
They should. It's funny.
I mean, as long as it brings more, as long as it's entertaining and it brings more people to the sport, I mean, go for it. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
and
good.
And Vegas has absolutely done that, and good on them. And again, they're one win away from the final, so
that's crazy.
Which is insane.
So, like I said before the show, I originally had a pick and a pan, and then I had to add an additional pan because of last weekend. I'm going to do just the opposite of you. I'm going to start with my pick. My pick is so my brother got a 3D printer and said that he was going to start 3D printing a Catan board, and it's something that I've been wanting to do, and I just kept putting off. And it's not because of the amount of printing; it's the work afterwards. I've never done like any kind of like model or miniature painting in my life, so I've started painting these, and at first I thought I was going to hate this, and now I actually really kind of like it. I don't think I'm gonna keep going or anything, but like, nice. So here's like one of the little water ones, and it's got a little light kind of hard to see, a little lighthouse on it. So, but I've been dry brushing on them, and just it's been fun, and they're turning out pretty decent, and I'm enjoying it. So that's my pick. My first pan is I finally unsubscribed to a channel on YouTube that I've been following for a long time, which is Nerdist. I don't particularly care. Nerdist News used to be a daily show, and they used to come on and they would talk about genuine, like, geeky type news, spanning whatever, video games, movies, TV shows, whatever. They don't do a week or a daily show anymore, I don't think, unless they've moved it over to their paid channel or whatever. But the only ones that I see on YouTube is pretty much the same thing, and it's always like their theory on spoilers on something, or their theory about what's going to happen on something. And for the most part, I was just like, okay, well, I'll just stick to the other shows on there that I like. Like I do love the Dan Cave, and I love Because Science. I love both of those shows, and I just really wasn't watching actual Nerdist News or whatever on there. But within the last 2 weeks, literally some of the titles for the episodes, like even if you watch the episode, of course, they immediately come on and say, spoiler, spoiler, spoiler. If you haven't seen this movie or whatever, don't keep watching. But the title of the episode could be considered a spoiler itself. So like one of them was they've flat out spoiled some things that I think were, I mean, they're not like huge spoilers, but they're pretty spoilerific for, Infinity War. But like one of the ones that they had within the last week is not remember who they listed, is so-and-so the secret villain in Deadpool 2.
Oh, geez.
Okay, whether or not they are, even if it's just a wild guess, I did not want to know that. Like, I don't, even though Sai said he went and watched it today, and he said he did enjoy it, and he said there's not really going to be like too much you have to worry about spoiler-wise, which I didn't think there would be. Still, the fact that you are putting spoiler type stuff like that in the title of your show, the title of the episode, before the movie even comes out, I was done. I'm like, no, I can't do this anymore. So I unsubscribed. I'll just have to kind of keep them, in my head. Oh, hey, there's a new episode probably of the Dan Cave coming out or whatever. So I maybe try to switch over and watch it. But and then the other thing I had to add, and I literally didn't think about this until an hour or so ago. My wife just recently got a new used vehicle. Our previous one was having some issues, so we got a new one, and she's been very happy with it and enjoying it, and it's been great and everything. And I have never come close to hitting a deer in my life. And last weekend we went to a cousin's wedding, and my brother and his wife rode with me and Christy, and my dad just kept mentioning, well, be careful on the way home because it's gonna be dark and deer out. And I'm like, yes, Dad, I know. I'm gonna pay attention, whatever. And I was trying to be a nice guy, so we get to a part where the road there's a right lane. So I get into the right lane to let this guy behind me go on, and so he gets out, and he's probably kind of like catty corner to me. He's just in front and to the left of me, and there's a deer, and it barely misses him. And I can't swerve to the right because then I will hit it dead on. I can't swerve to the left because he's there. I'm afraid I don't want to take, his rear end off. So all I can do is slam on the brakes, and it, I clipped it in the front right of the bumper, and yeah. So now I'm out a good amount of money. I mean, granted, I have insurance, but still my deductible was higher than I wanted it to be, and it's just fuck deer. Just fuck deer.
Okay.
Be thankful it's not a moose.
Yeah.
Oh yes, no,
and
yes, and I'm like, everyone's like, well, at least this didn't happen. At least it wasn't a full-grown deer. At least you weren't in your Mustang. Yes. Still, I understand all this, but you know what? Still, fuck that deer. Yeah. Because I'm just like, great, this is all I needed. I'm like, you always think you're about to get a little bit ahead, and then it's like, nope. Guess what? So anyway, I just had to throw that as a paying out because. Fuck that deer. That is our show for the week, ladies and gentlemen. If you would, fuck that deer. Yeah, that looks like one Sai would wear. So, as always, if you would please give us a 5-star rating on iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Music, wherever it is you listen or watch the show. If you do want to watch us record the show live, we record it on YouTube on Saturday nights. I've been putting out, trying to get more information out there so that, people can know to show up or whatever. So, and then, giving us a review really does help us out. We're going to be recording a new episode of the Marginally Geeky Show here, probably in a couple weeks. We did make a change on the show. Originally, we were going to read a different book, but because we're all excited for this book that's dropping next month, we're just going to plow through the series. So if you are listening to the Marginally Geeky Show, we did switch over, and our next book, our book for this coming month is going to be the Magic 2.0 book, in the second book in the series, Spell or High Water. So, and then we're going to follow it up by the third book, and then the fourth book, and then the new book. So it's going to be all magic from here on out for a while. So, but I'm not complaining, okay. And I don't think anyone else is. Yep, I think everyone else is pretty happy with that. So, where can we find you on the internet, Ray?
Started posting some sunsets again, which is good.
I saw that.
Lake Life Artist on Instagram.
Chris, where can we find you?
Here and the Marginally Geeky podcast, and at on Instagram at Cedar Birch Cottage, where we've been posting updates of our renovations.
Yes, and I'm enjoying seeing those. You're doing good work, and I'm glad I'm not there. I have enough shit to do right now. So. And as always, you can find me at Optimus Gene on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. For everyone on the site, have a good night.